Welcome to our Climate Wisdom Studio live from COP30 in Belém, Brazil. We bring together experts from science, politics and spirituality to discuss and explore the upcoming new climate disaster. Myself, I'm Golo Pilz, and I will be today's moderator on a very interesting topic, global solidarity and climate justice. It's soon the end game here at the COP. It's only 72 hours before the official end of the climate conference, and then, as usual, extra time has to be given. COP President Dalago is in a hurry. His 11th letter, released late on Monday, calls on countries to accelerate the pace. Later, he outlined the plan for 2 deals in Belém. The first one will be a major mutirão. Everybody comes together and finds a solution. A decision covering contentious issues like trade, finance and the national determined contributions. The second is potentially a decision to phase out fossil fuels. He is pressing the delegates very hard for a positive outcome, and we have to see if his negotiation tactics will pay off. A latest investigation also has found out that more than 300 industrial and agriculture lobbyists have participated at this year's UN Climate Summit. Interestingly, it's the same industry responsible for the major global deforestation. Experts also criticize the paradox of excluding civil society from key negotiations, while fossil fuel lobbyists continue to be given access. Today also, Bhutan's PM Tshering Tobagai announced that Bhutan is the country and the first carbon negative nation in the world, more than its fair share, and the West must now cut emission for the happiness of your people. That's a very good example and a very interesting statement. The tussle between Australia and Turkey still continues with little clarity who will host the next climate conference 31. So these are the news right now from the climate conference. And I'm glad to have 2 special guests with us who will shed light on the climate conference and all the details. We have with us Santosh Gupta. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are the founder of and CEO and trustee of the Indian Social Responsible Network, a forum for promoting social responsibility and sustainable development initiatives. You have over 25 years experience in the social development sector with expertise in disaster management, CSR and sustainable development. Welcome, Santosh.
Thank you, Golu. Thanks for inviting me, and also it's my pleasure to sit here and discuss about the climate justice with Sister Jayanti. Thank you.
Welcome. We have also with us Sister Jayanti. You are the additional administrative head of the Brahma Kumaris and the globally known spiritual leader. The Brahma Kumaris operates more than 8,500 meditation centers worldwide and is accredited to the UNFCCC since 2009. Sister Jayanti has been since then to almost all the climate conferences, and you are also the head of the BK delegation at this COP. Welcome, Sister Jayanti.
Thank you.
This brings me to the first question. Santosh, India is one of the countries massively affected by climate change. And it seems municipalities, local governments and the civil society is gearing up to the challenge. The Indian Social Responsible Network works extensively at the local level on water management, sustainable agriculture and community health. Please share some of your projects in India and let us know what brings you to the climate conference.
Very nice. So firstly, I divided your question in 2 parts. So first, as you said, in everywhere, the climate disaster or climate problem is everywhere, not only in India. But in view of India, if you see, India is indeed deeply affected by the climate change, from erratic rainfall and extreme heat waves and to groundwater stress and agriculture vulnerability. At the Indian social responsibility point of view, like you ask, our responsibility has always been grounded in local action, community capacity and the ethical development. So we are working on that area. Like the ISRN is a very young growing organization established in 2014. ISRN is a multi-dimensional facilitation network. Over the 800 voluntary organization is member, especially the grassroots level organization across the country. And we are supporting holistic development, especially rural and suburban communities across India. We work primarily in capacity building, research and development, and some of the model project implementation. Like Uttam School is Uttam School, you can say the model school. This is our one of the major intervention in education. Till date, we have developed a 54 model school in India. So, and cover more than 20,000 children to give and provide the model education system to the deprived population. So this is one of our intervention, and similarly we are working in health, in especially Northeast and other remote areas where we are providing health facilities to the vulnerable population, and also we are working in the agriculture sector. So we have the 44 farmer producer organization in 4 states, especially in Jammu Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Himachal. So, and more than 18,000 farmers are associated with these 44 FPOs, and we are providing support like formation to promotion of FPO as well as the commodity of the farmers. So, and especially if I talk about the overall perspective of the organization, so we place a strong emphasis on the integrated sustainable development goal and the inclusive program, this bridge corporate and non-profit and government sector. So in our program, we integrate renewable energy into education, health, agriculture, because we believe like environment is not a separate subject. Environment is the use everywhere, like you can inculcate in every areas. So if you see in our program, especially like in education, like example in education, we are providing in school green school, clean school campaign. So that children can learn from the beginning, so how you will what is your role in the environment. And in health also we are providing the waste management, especially waste in the medical side. And also in agriculture we are promoting the nature based farming, natural farming. So in this is the small area where we are working. In last 30 seconds, like I just wanted, at COP30 we want to connect a local action and global ambitions to say the word yes, we can scale, yes, we must be ethical, yes, we must leave no one behind, because climate resilience is aspirations. So, and last line, like we are standing in the balance with the nature in true progress. This is not just a line, it is a story of mother smiling as her child reads under safe light.
How wonderful, beautiful. So you work a lot also in awareness, especially for the young people, which is a very important topic, because if they understand, it changes the actions, and we have to address the young generation. Wonderful. Thanks very much for sharing. This brings me to Sister Jayanti. I know the Brahma Kumaris promotes also in a big way renewable energies, operates hospitals, works with farmers for sustainable farming, and carries out also tree plantation programs. Our COP30 project is also going on, and we have also many more outreach programs. But all this activity has to be sustained by a transformation of our mind, the understanding in our heart, this our feelings and emotions. And how does meditation help us to recharge the battery of the soul and unleash our full transformative potential?
Om Shanti. I'm happy to be here in the studio with both of you. And yes, they sometimes say that the journey from the head to the heart is one of the longest journeys that anybody has ever experienced, and it's true. because the world is so materialistic today that everybody demands facts. And so your head has to be in the right space to have all those facts and be able to share those. But yet, the human being is not just facts and figures. The human being is feelings and experiences and emotions. And if you're thinking about a society in which there's well-being for all, then you can't just work with the head and leave hearts in a state of pain and unhappiness. And so meditation rebalances us, because yes, I need to understand what's happening here in terms of the world of length, width, breadth and height, but then I have to go higher, or you can say deeper, into the self, into the inner being, and be able to see, well, where are my thoughts coming from? Why are my thoughts not pure and positive? What is it that's making my thoughts become negative and a bit dark and causing me pain? So looking at the mind, looking at feelings, but also making sure that that capacity that I have to understand, which is different to the facts and things, but to understand something deeply, to understand you deeply. It's a question of my buddhi, my intellect coming into play. But meditation takes care of both of these aspects, both the heart as well as the head, because you understand what you have to do when you meditate, and then as a result of connecting with the divine, because yoga means connection, and Raj Yoga that we practice means connecting with the Supreme, the highest. When I connect with the highest is the source of light and love and might and joy and peace, all of these qualities. And so when I connect, automatically that influence reaches me and my heart begins to melt, and I'm able to experience the softer side of human nature, but also, not just for me, I'm able to see others with that vision, in which I also see them as a balance of head and heart. So a new quality enters our relationship.
Very
Wonderful.
nice.
Really wonderful how you phrased it. This gives quite some food for thought to think about bringing together the head and the heart, and then we can have better decisions, better actions, and we see also the goodness in all the people around us. Thanks very much, Sister Jayanti. Santosh, our topic today is global solidarity and climate justice. A very deep topic and historically also loaded with all sorts of ideas. And as usual at climate conference, sufficient and accessible funds, climate funds, remains a major sticking point. That's also where all the negotiations are going on. And especially for the global south, this is a very tricky question. How do you balance on one side the individual responsibility, which everybody has to look into his personal actions, but on the other side also the need to hold large corporations and the developed nations accountable for their systemic emissions of the past? How to bring in climate justice in the whole process of the climate conference?
Very nice. Thank you for raising the critical points. Like, it's very important nowadays. So when we speak the climate change and justice, we must hold two truths together. First one, like every individual's matter. Every household choosing clean energy, every farmer's choosing efficient irrigations, every citizen's demanding transparency. There is a power in the single decision, that is the ethic of everyday action. What action we are doing in their own life. So that's why our Prime Minister said lifestyle for environment. So if we feel the lifestyle, our lifestyle, so many things complement to the environment. So second, the historic responsibility lies with the institution, industry, nation, whose emission spread the world we now inherit. To achieve climate justice involves recognizing the differential and acting on it. India has acted by the integrity, as Sister Jayanti also said, under the Paris Agreement. If you see, India submitted its first national NDC in 2015 and pledged to reduce emission intensity of GDP of by 45% by 2030 from 2005 level, and to achieve about 50% cumulative electric power installed capacity from the non-fossil, as you highlighted that point, fuel-based energy resource by 2030. I am proud to say that India has reached the milestone of 50% non-fossil fuel installed electricity capacity in mid 2025.
Yeah, I heard about
yes,
it, that India crossed 50%.
yes, and 5 year ahead of the 2030 target. So we are working on the same line, like climate in action, not in the discussion. So, and also this demonstrates that the ethical commitment to the sustainable transition is the being translation into action, as I said. But results alone are not enough if they leave the most marginalized behind. So how do we bring it all together? It's a very important thing. So at Paryavaran Sachchan Gadvidhi as well as the ISRN, as I representing here in a COP30, we work at the grassroots level empowering communities to adopt individual climate friendly action and build resilience. So this is the important our motto. We call on cooperation and government to adopt transparent supply chain, just transition and accessible finance. Also, we call on the international community to ensure the climate finance, technology, and the capacity flow where vulnerability is greatest, not only where market are resist. So this is very easy to say, but this is climate justice in action. It is not just you reduce your emission or I reduce mine. It is we change the system together so everyone has a fair chance. And also, I highlighted when I visit a village where to pump now run on solar in India, where the night school has light, where a health center can refrigerator for the vaccine. Even during the blackouts, I see justice delivered not only for the climate but for the dignity. सो कल की पीढ़ी इन हिंदी इफ आई फ्रेज, कल की पीढ़ी को बेहतर धरोहर देना हमारा कर्तव्य है. It is our duty to leave a better legacy for the next generation. So this all duty of all of us, and we all can contribute in the climate action as well as the climate justice.
So let's hope that the West, the rich nations, are coming up with the funds needed.
Yes.
And let's see what will be the outcome of this climate conference. Thanks very much for sharing. Jayanti, from a spiritual perspective, where does the disparity between actions and of high-emitting nations, the actions of high-emitting nations, and the suffering of the vulnerable communities originate? Is climate justice just a political issue, or is there a deeper spiritual dimension to it? Is it a sickness or disturbance of the soul? How to address that?
I would say that climate change is one little crisis which is now becoming very visible. Until last year, even there were many deniers. Even today there are deniers, but at least it's now really coming to people's awareness that the huge amount of thunderstorms that we've had and various other things that you all know about. So I think that we have to look beyond climate crisis, and we'll probably find that at the essence, at the root, is a crisis within the self. For example, my own conscience as well as my behavior doesn't quite match up, which is why then people take tranquilizers, depressant, beating pills, all sorts of things. Yes, definitely. But what we have to do is to understand why this is happening. When I become just simply focused on the physical form, on the physical identity, I lose touch with myself. I forget who I truly am. We came from up above and we found ourselves here, and we've been playing a role on this world stage. It's a beautiful metaphor that Shakespeare has used, but it's also something that we use, that the world is a stage and we're all playing a part within that. But the problem is that outside now there's a huge amount of negativity and darkness. What I need to do is to ensure that I deal with my own inner negativity, whether it's this lack of awareness of balance of head and heart, or whether it's anger or greed or attachment or ego, one of these vices. And if the soul is influenced by these negative things, then the decisions it makes, the way it behaves is abnormal. And if you look at everything going on in the world now, 360 degrees, you'll find that it is a very abnormal situation. Things are happening that even 2 years ago, we could not have imagined that such things could happen. But yet, people have forgotten about their moral boundaries, people have forgotten about the ethics of society, and this is the result. And so I don't think it's just a question of one crisis. Somebody called it permanent crisis, permacrisis. Somebody else called it polycrisis. Polycrisis. So, but they describe the same situation where it's as if things are out of control and you're moving with a very, very fast momentum. You know, we heard the science of how, in terms of sustainable development and so on, we've actually crossed around 5 or 6 of the tipping points of all the aspects of climate change. Now, what does the future hold? It looks pretty grim. But what happens is that if we can cure the soul of the anger, the greed, the attachments, etc., then the impact of that would be a transformation in not just my behavior, but it would be a transformation in everything that's going on around us in the world. So I think that we have to deal with the inner crisis of the sickness of the soul, and then we'll be able to see a better world ahead.
Very nice.
Thanks for sharing, Sister Jayanti. This brings me to our last question, dear Santosh. You stated once, I read it up, governments negotiate, industries invest, and it's the civil society which inspires. And the Brazilian government gives special emphasis to the indigenous community here at the climate conference and also to their wisdom. And India has a vast treasure trove of real ancient ethical principles. For example, ahimsa, which advocates the avoidance of injury to any living being through your words, thoughts, and actions. Please share your insights how such traditional wisdom can give us guidance, and also here at the COP, how it can help us for the needed paradigm shift in lifestyle and economics.
Okay, thank you for bringing us back to the heart of what climate action, truly transformation of values. So when we say civil societies inspire, we mean the values shape vision and vision shape actions. So in India, like when we say the civil societies, and also like in Brazil, has a long heritage ecology, ethics deeply woven into culture, spirituality and community life. And as you said, like ahimsa is not just about avoiding physical harm. You rightly said it means lively in a way that reduce injury to all living beings and to the nature itself. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is our mantra in India, like you also know the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, where we are talking and we are thinking around them. The world is one family, and its Sanskrit principle teaches global solidarity. It echoes the spirit of climate justice, that the atmosphere belongs to all and responsibility must be shared. India villagers are like in Brazil, Amazonian tribes have always practiced water harvesting, crop diversity, season based agriculture, scared groves as a biodiversity reserve, community responsibility for common resource. These are not just ancient practices, they are modern climate solutions. And now the time to understand what is the climate culture. So, in practice, here how that wisdom guides our work at ISRN in most of the Indian organization. We design projects so that every community counts, not just the economical viable one. We ensure that the voice of civilized centric population and rural community are heard. We support capacity building so that local actors lead their futures. We recognize that development is not consumption but care for land, care for water, care for each others. If our economics, our industry and our policy makers are not bringing well-being to the last child in the further future villages, then we still have far to go. Civil societies therefore play a crucial role, reminding government and industries that the climate action is not technical, not only financial, but ethical. As Sister Jayanti also said, civil society doesn't only ask question, it's inspire courage. It's so that when ethics development and like a renewable energy come together, we don't just change climate, is a change lives. So this is the core ethics and the core area of this your question. And in the last, I want to end with the Sanskrit invocation, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Let all see well-being. It's our motto, and that's the vision we are working here.
How beautiful!
Thank you.
I feel that in the in the indigenous and ancient wisdom, it's a real treasure trove of ideas, concepts, and if we just bring it up and live after them, climate change would be a small problem.
Here, I just want to clarify, when we say the indigenous, like look, this is not the words. It's when you say the indigenous, is directly pointed to the tribal community. But when we say the civilization centric approach, then you cover all the society.
Okay.
So like our lexicon also need to the change. Like we used to say civilization centric approach, not indigenous.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, such great inspirations for the conference and the world on our topic today. And time is ticking, and we just have a couple of minutes left. And maybe Sister Jayanti, you can guide a short meditation on solidarity and justice to bring it back on the center stage for the world.
Thank you. Let's go on an inner journey. I watch my thoughts, and as I watch them, they slow down. And the thought that's within me is to search for the divine. And when I come to that awareness of all of us under the canopy of the one divine, I realize we are one family. Solidarity is natural and easy for us to understand and accept. But also, I know that it's only through that togetherness that we can cooperate and bring about climate justice and create a better world for all. So we send out our thoughts of God's love and light and peace out into the world. so all may be blessed. Om Shanti.
Thanks very much, Sister Jayanti, for guiding that meditation. And this brings us to the end of our panel discussion. And I would like to thank very much our speakers, Santosh and Sister Jayanti. Thanks also to our patrons and sponsors and all the helpers behind the camera to make this live studio possible. Please also to join us for another interesting live session of Climate Wisdom Studio. For details, please visit our webpage echo.brahmakumaris.org/live. You will find all information there. And last not least, thanks very much for you, our global audience, to stay with us. I hope you are inspired. And you please can stay tuned in. After a short moment, we will commence with part 2 of this conversation. Goodbye and good night from Belém in Brazil.